out. Here come former SportsCenter anchor Bob Stevens, esteemed basketball coach Rich Basirico, and Hall of Fame sports writer Curry Kirkpatrick. And someone's going under the bus.
Well, I think we can throw plenty of people under the bus. Welcome in. Thanks for joining us. We're going to get to a whole lot of college hoop because Curry and Rich are going to go be courtside and really give us serious analysis next week of the opening round. But we got to break down the brackets. We're going to do all that. First, we're going to talk a little baseball going on right now, the finals of the World Baseball Classic. I've been watching some of it. The semifinals were terrific. The quarterfinals were terrific. It has been some really fun baseball with the Americans, hopefully, for them, having enough pitching to get through it. They had to start a kid who pitches for the Mets in the big game because nobody else wants their pitchers pitching, I guess.
Well, we're doing this in the middle of the championship game tonight, so and the American bats are still dead. So I don't know. They may be going under the bus.
How about the spirit and the excitement that the other teams, Venezuela and Dominican Republic and Italy, of all people, have been bringing to this tournament? It's been terrific.
Well, the crowds, it seemed like, even though the game's in Miami, it doesn't seem like a USA, would have the advantage crowd-wise. It should, but it doesn't seem like that when you listen to the game. It's kind of crazy.
I think it's the rest of the world against the U.S., isn't it?
Well, for sure. Venezuela. Well, you could say the U.S. team is only in this game because of Mr. Corey Blazer, the famous umpire for this semifinal game that missed that last pitch, and he missed the pitch to Soto the inning before. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it
was under the bus for sure.
Blatant ball was 2.5 inches below the line.
Well, but they should be swinging, right? It was a 3-2 count. The ball's close. Come on, swing it. This is not Little League. We hope to get walked.
Not even that close. Not even that close.
Well, we'll take it.
I don't know if I told you the story. I think I'm sure I told the story about how I knew an old American League umpire when I was a kid. He was an American League umpire in the 50s and 60s. And he said, the good ones could call their own game. He said, Ted Williams would look back at me and says, I'm not going to make you look bad, but you missed that one. And Joe would have to tell him, yeah, I did. And he said, Ted Williams was the very best at knowing the strike zone and not needing ABS or any of that other stuff.
Right.
The really good hitters, they know the strike zone pretty well.
Well, Soto's really good at that. He's very good at that.
He's a very disciplined hitter, and that pitch was way low, also below his knees. Rich, you want him to swing? You want him to swing at that?
No, but he struck out the end of the game. It's 3-2 count. You got to be. I think you got to be swinging. If it's close, you got to be swinging. And 3-2 count, 2 outs.
That's what they coach you in junior high. Is you can't let the 3-2 pitch go. Yeah,
that's right.
You got to. Yeah.
But let's look ahead a little bit. I think the Olympics then in 2 years are really going to be fabulous because I think now. I think even more of the better American players will want to play, and everybody else, every other country's best are going to have a chance to win an Olympic gold medal. I think that's going to be pretty cool.
I do too.
Is that what they call this thing, Bob? ABS? That's the
new automatic ball and strike. Yeah.
Is that what's coming, or are robot umpires coming?
Well, the ABS is basically robot umpires. They're going to tell the guy's still going to call behind the plate, but the ABS is going to be able to decide any if a catcher or a pitcher or a hitter taps their head.
It has to be a challenge.
It'll be
it has to be a challenge.
Yeah, that's the ABS. Yeah.
But are they eventually going to go to robot umpires where there's not going to be any challenges because it'll be like regular human beings, only they're robots?
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. We'll see. I mean, we're headed that way. In the minor leagues this year, they're going to do, first of all, they've made the distance between first and second base and second and third is actually a little bit shorter now. They're moving second base in about 6 inches, which actually makes it closer to the other bases. They're trying to get stolen bases back up. The first year when they made the bases bigger and it helped a little bit, but then it backslid. So this year in the minor leagues, they're going to try with the moving the base in just a little bit. The games got 2 minutes longer last year, so they're trying to speed them up a little bit. And the other thing they're going to do in the minor leagues in like A ball, way down low, is they're not going to let the hitter step out of the box. You get in the box, you're in the box.
Wow.
Yeah. And,
but why are we? I mean, we've talked about this before. Why are we rushing? I mean, I know the game extends, it's long, and they've got the pitch count for the pitchers and everything. But if I'm paying $300 to see a game, why do I want to be rushed through the game then? I mean, I want it to last 3 hours. I want to get my money's worth. Football is football.
You're still leaving in the seventh inning.
I know, but football is 3 hours. College football is 3.5 hours, and now we're worried about
too long.
It is way too long because of the commercials.
I think 245. I think 230 to 245 is fine.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. But it seems like in baseball, we're trying to rush everything.
I could get that. I can get behind that. Any other baseball talk? Have you guys seen anybody or anything that's really wowed you during this WBC?
Well, Judge talked about the other day, playing in this is even better than playing in the World Series. Which, I can see that. You represent your country.
Yeah. And he basically pointed to the crowd reaction, the passion and the excitement of the crowds were even better than the World Series.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting to think. I think I was very interested in the Dominicans' reaction to the obviously bad call that cost them the game. And it didn't cost them the game, but who knows what would have happened.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think the way that the players and Pujols, the manager, treated they recognized what a great game this was. Number one, what a great game, and what a great event this was. And I think they honored the event by not bitching and moaning about the call. It was really kind of interesting.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, enough of that. We got to talk about it. That's what you guys want to talk about. Let's take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to break down college hoops. Curry and Rich are not only going to tell you who's going to win the whole thing in the end, they're going to give you some of the upsets along the way, who to watch for, because these guys know their stuff. We'll be back in a moment, and we'll throw some other people under the bus. Welcome back to Under the Bus. Bob Stevens along with Curry Kirkpatrick and Rich Basirico. This is the first of the play-in games is tonight when we're taping this on Tuesday. 2 more on Wednesday, and then it gets serious on Thursday. Curry and Rich, you're going up. What'd you think of the draw? Did the 68 teams were those the ones who should have gotten in? Anybody get stiffed? Anybody to throw under the bus?
I think for the first time, maybe the only team that I thought maybe could have gotten in, but was Oklahoma because they played so well towards the end of the year. But outside of them, I mean, really, usually every year it's 3 or 4 teams. Everybody says, oh, they should have gotten in. They should have gotten in. But this year, I think they got it right. The only thing, and I know you guys aren't big Rick Pitino fans, but I think St. John's got screwed. I really do. I mean, they win 28 games. They win the Big East. They beat Connecticut twice. Connecticut's a 2nd seed. They're a 5 seed. I didn't expect them to be a 2nd seed. Maybe I was thinking 4. And then they send them out to San Diego. I mean, like, what else can you do but, stab them in the back? I mean, what else? Yes, they did lose early in the season. I get it. But I thought it was always how you're playing towards the end of the year. They always talk about playing well at the end of the year, how important it is. They won their last 19 out of 20 games. 19 out of 20. win the Big East, beat Connecticut twice. Connecticut's a 2 seed, they're a 5 seed. I don't get that one. I just don't think they like Pitino. Honestly, I really think overall the committee, like a lot of people, just don't like the guy. And how do you explain that? Really, how do you explain
I
why
don't
they're?
think, I don't think it's an anti-Patino thing. I do think, but I agree with you. And everybody has said that St. John's is very underseeded because, a team that wins its regular season and its tournament in one of these big leagues usually gets a very, if not a one, a two or three. But yeah, I think they're a couple seeds below. But not only, and I'm not sure why the trip to San Diego. That you're right about that, Rich. It didn't hit me until I saw that. They also will have to play probably Kansas just to get into the second weekend.
Right.
And, that's probably, I think, the hardest region. And, they didn't do Duke any favors by putting all these teams in. Of course, they talk about poor Shire. He's in there with no NCAA titles. And they've got Patino and Self and Izzo and Hurley, and they've all got like 7 or 8 between them. The thing is, though, he's not going to have to play every one of them. He's only going to play maybe 1, maybe 2. I've got in my brackets, I've got them advancing to have Duke would have to play St. John's and then Connecticut. I think Connecticut's going to beat Michigan State to get to the Final Four.
Okay.
But I'll tell you, while you're on it, I'll give you my upset right now at Dark Horse. Dark Horse usually has to come below the 4 seeds, and sure. I'm picking St. John's to beat Duke and beat Connecticut again and get to the Final Four. Yeah, I mean the way they play in New York. Of course, they're not going to be playing in New York, but they're going to get a big crowd in Washington. They're going to get a lot of their fans in Washington. It's not going to be that big a pro Duke or a pro Connecticut place down there. I don't think. So, and I think I think they can do that.
The only thing with St. John's, I watched them a lot because that was my team growing up. Their perimeter shooting is so inconsistent. Their front line is terrific, but their backcourt, I mean, one game, the guy's knocking them down. The next game, he scores 2 points.
Weren't we throwing them under the bus a couple of weeks ago?
Yes.
For 0
for 24. They were 0 for 24.
Yeah, 0 for 24.
That's what scares me about them. Curry, there are some analysts out there that think that they're going to get beat in the first round. There are guys saying that Northern Iowa is going to beat them because of their slow pace. They don't turn the ball over. They think they might give St. John's a run for their money. I don't think so, but there are guys out there that they're calling that as one of their upsets.
Yeah, it's a popular upset pick. I saw that. I think, if you talk about this region, though, how about to talk a little bit more over other than St. John's, how about the nightmare referee game, Connecticut against UCLA? Against Cronin. Would that be a nightmare for referees? Oh my God. Oh, geez.
Robot umpires. You got robot umpires for baseball. Maybe we need them for that.
I would love to see that game. How many? What's the over and under in F-bombs thrown that game?
And
I bet you the over and under is probably about 30 or 40.
And how about the losing coach's rant? That'll be good to see too. That'll be good.
Hey, Rich, you were talking about Oklahoma being left out. It was curious. I was reading an Oklahoma columnist who says that Oklahoma probably got what it deserved, and that Miami of Ohio got what it deserved, and some of the lower teams, because we don't know, and we don't how good Miami of Ohio is. We don't know.
Right.
They didn't play anybody.
Right.
Yeah, they went 31-1, and yeah, they got a very low seed because of it. But he says, we know what Oklahoma is. They're not very good. And he said, they were not that good in the conference. They didn't, they had a 9-game losing streak in the middle of the season. They are what they are, and we kind of know what they are. And he likes the tournament. What he likes about the tournament is bringing in teams into it that we don't know how good they are. They might be.
Well, that's the whole. Yeah, that's the whole gist of the tournament. That's the whole popularity of it. That people, even people that, as you say, the people that follow the game all season, don't follow these teams that get in. I mean, you're Rich. The people you're talking about picking St. John's to lose. They're playing who? North Dakota? Who are they playing the first round?
Northern Iowa.
Nobody's ever seen Northern Iowa, right? You don't know what do these people know? I mean, they think because of their slow pace, Patino can speed up. They can speed up the pace. He's a really, for all the slurs we throw at Rick, he can really coach.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. He'll have them ready. He's totally motivated by all this. That's one of the things Patino really, he takes advantage of that. Even his best player didn't get All-American. He didn't even make first, second, or third team. He'll take all of that and he will rub it in those guys' faces and talk about, look what they disrespected us. They totally disrespected us, where we're seated, where we're going, everything about our program. So let's go and kick, what? He'll have them ready to play.
Yeah, I vote on a couple of these All-American teams, and you put Zuby. You're talking about Zuby Elafor, right. And you put him up against some of these other guys, and you kind of forget about him. But he led the league in everything, right? and he's done it for the second year in a row.
And he's the most valuable player of the Big East. That's a pretty good conference. I mean, how do you not at least be third team at least?
The great story about him is that, if they play Kansas, he started his career at Kansas.
That's right.
His freshman year there, he averaged 5 points, 5 minutes, 1 point, and 1 rebound a game. And now he's the MVP of the Big East. He's, one of the great players in the country.
That's right.
How about, what a great story that is.
That is a great story. It really is.
Anything that you can go back to, Curry, off the top of your head?
Well,
that is
where a guy started
at one school and did nothing and went
you can build up the slurs against Patino. We've mentioned the San Diego, the 5th seed, and the whole thing. But now he's in a region where to get to the Final Four, he's going to have to beat Connecticut again. Yeah. You think he likes that? There's no way. They're taking turns blowing each other out. Right. So now it's Connecticut's turn. That game is not going to be a blowout if they play again. It's going to be. Do you think, Rick? I mean, it's going to be.
No, I think if they play again, I think Connecticut wins. And I think that, St. John's took advantage of obviously playing in Madison Square Garden, which is their, basically their home court. I mean, Connecticut plays there a lot also too, but still it's not the same. Now you're playing on a neutral court. If they do play against each other, I think Connecticut wins.
Yeah.
Has anybody in you guys' memory been as passionate, still going strong for as many years as Patino? I mean, that's the one thing I give him most credit for. He still cares a whole lot, and can still, as you guys say, get a team up for a big game. And he was young Rick Pitino for a long, long time, and he's not anymore. And
wherever he coaches, think about all the play. He was at Providence and Louisville, Kentucky. I mean, every place he's gone, they've won. He can really develop his players. I mean, he asks a lot out of them. He demands a lot from them, but the majority of them respond to him because he has a way of getting them to play to the best of their ability, and gets them to improve, obviously, as the time goes on. Every time, if you watch his teams play early in the season and then to the end of the season, it's a huge difference. Huge difference.
They say he still has these 6 a.m. practices where he gets out there and he's as energetic as he ever was, which is really kind of, you don't see it in the game so much, but because he's not Hurley, he's not running up and down, but he's pacing. He's pacing up and down now.
Yeah.
He doesn't get on the referees as much as he used to.
Yeah. A lot of people like Arkansas. What do you guys think?
Oh, I'm not. Calipari. I have to throw Calipari under the bus. Can I do it now?
Sure.
Well, we're going to the West region now, right? Where Arkansas is.
I don't even have the brackets in front of me.
Let's put this in. Go ahead, Rich.
Well, that's right. I mean, Arkansas has a very good team. Acuff is probably the best guard in the country. I think he's amazing what he does. I still think Arkansas does not get to the Final Four.
Well, if the seeds go, Rich, they're going to have to play Arizona in the round 16. And
Right.
Arizona has got a couple of terrific defensive players that, Lloyd can put on Acuff.
Yeah.
The senior guard Bradley, who's got the most valuable player in the conference, who made that great shot against Iowa State. Then they've got that Tarchenkov from Yugoslavia, where he's a tough guy, and they're going to give Acuff all he wants, I think. But that's a Sweet 16 game, so I don't think Arkansas can get past.
No, not at all. Not, and I also think the X's and O's that come from my friend there hurts them. Here's just a quick story in the game in the game in their tournament. Acuff hit a shot coming out of a timeout where they spent, in college basketball, timeouts are a lot longer than high school because of the commercials and everything else. And Calipari was diagramming all this information. And, if the players go out on the floor and Acuff comes off a screen and scored, I mean, he's off balance, falling away and buries it. I mean, just an unbelievable shot. And then after the game, Calipari, they're on the, I guess, the panel with the analysts talking about what a great game this was. And then Calipari turns to him and goes, "Hey, how'd you like that I changed that play?" He just diagrammed the play for 3 minutes. And then at the last second, because I remember seeing this, the last second, he's pointing to Acuff to move from taking the ball out of bounds to being on the floor. Now, how about give credit to the kid who made this unbelievable shot, falling away. He's probably one of maybe two people in the country who can make that shot. And he wants to take credit that he changed the play to make that happen. It's such BS. I mean, it just drove me. I wanted to vomit after I heard that.
I got a question, Rich. Who do you hate more, Calipari or Todd Golden, the Florida coach?
They're on the same level. They're on the same level.
I got a quick story that I'm a little changing my mind on this Golden. Because I kind of think he's kind of attractive young guy, but everybody hates him. All the coaches hate this guy. And what he did after the Kentucky game, just a quick story. They beat Kentucky in the SEC tournament, and in the and the flyby handshake with Mark Pope was unbelievable, quickest in history. I mean, nobody likes this guy. It's obvious. So Golden said after the game to the press, he said, "In the 3 games we've played these guys, they haven't led for 1 minute." I mean, he's rubbing this in. What the hell? And then the next minute, Vanderbilt blows him out of the building. I thought that was kind of interesting. So Rich, I'm coming around to your feeling about Golden. He's really a cocky. He really is. Swagger is kind of getting to me.
Back to the West for just a moment. Is Arizona overrated or underrated?
No, I think Rich and I both think they're going to win the whole thing, right? Okay. I think their team, they're so good. I mean, they've got everything you need, and they've got a great bench as well, and they haven't had any injuries. These other teams, Duke has got the two guys, and Michigan has the point guard is out for the season.
Louisville has a guy out. North Carolina. There's several teams. Who else? There's Kansas. With Peterson, you never know if he's going to be out or not. He might take himself out of the game. You just don't know. You just don't know. But there's 3 or 4 teams that have lost players. Who else has? There was 2 players. Well, North Carolina, obviously. Duke. Louisville. There's somebody. Oh, BYU. Yeah. Right? Richie Saunders, right?
Yeah, but they lost him several weeks ago. Yeah. Saunders out.
Right.
I was impressed with Purdue's game against Michigan. I thought May got totally outcoached in that game. He didn't seem to know what to do with Braden Smith. And Cadeau couldn't guard him. He put the 7-footer on him for a while. They totally pulled away from Michigan down the end. I really have my questions about Michigan now, and I think in the West, Purdue is the only team that can contest Arizona. I think Arizona has a really good draw.
They do. The only thing that Curry that I think that maybe they get down to they make the Final Four, is you guys are probably gonna laugh at me when I say this, but I don't think Lloyd's the greatest coach out there. I think he gets his kids to play, but when it comes down to making those decisions late in the game, we'll see what happens.
Well, his history is not good in the NCAA tournament.
Right.
You know, he's had several number one seeds that have lost early. But this team, I think, is so good they're going to overcome whatever we.
All right, we still got 2 regions to go. Still lots more guys to throw under the bus. We just threw the Arizona coach under the bus.
I disagree. I disagree with Rich. I think he's come up with some. I'm not sure it's him though, because you see the huddles and his assistants are doing a lot of the talking in the huddles. So it might not be Tommy Lloyd. Yeah,
Luke Olson has got him a place saved under the bus. We'll keep it at that. We'll come back and talk about the other 2 regions and pick you some winners when we come back and throw some other coaches, I'm sure, under the bus. Welcome back to Under the Bus. Bob Stevens along with Curry Kirkpatrick and Rich Basirico. All right, I don't have any brackets in front of me. Which region you want to go to, Curry?
Well, we could do the Midwest and talk. You know, everybody likes Michigan, but and their path to the Final Four got a little easier this week when the Alabama, the second leading scorer, got arrested for marijuana. I mean, what the hell is that? You know, they raided his house and found pounds and pounds and they found ammunition and guns, right, Rich?
Yeah, that's sad. I mean, that's sad. That is so sad. And obviously, it's been going on for a while because
he's a terrific player too, Aiden Holloway.
Oh yeah, he's the second leading scorer on the team. He's averaging like 17 points a game.
Yeah, I mean,
that's going to hurt him. I still think they can win their first, maybe even second game, but after that, they're done.
You talking about Alabama?
Yes, Alabama. Yeah. I mean.
Well,
everybody has their weakness, of course. You know, when you look at some of these teams that play, I mean, you know, how about this with Vandy? Vandy commits team fouls in almost 25% of their defensive play. I think almost 25% of their plays they commit a foul. You know. Virginia, the defensive rebounding, they're like 210th in the nation on defensive rebounding. So when you break every team down, you start to think these little things. Iowa State, their free throw shooting as a team is only 67%. Yeah. They're a very good team, but that could really hurt them down the stretch.
Yeah. So you're switching regions on poor Bob.
I'm sorry. We're all over the place.
Vanderbilt's in the South.
You don't like Michigan in that region. Who do you like?
Well, again, as Rich said, Alabama might have been a threat to him, but Alabama their second game, Rich, would be against Texas Tech if they tease hold. I love Texas Tech, and we forgot of all the injuries you mentioned.
Toppin's out, right?
Who made the All-America team today, first team. Great player. He was having one of the great seasons. And he played, I think it was against Arizona. He played one of the great games of the whole year. And it was a shame to see him go out. But they're still really good without him. Those two, Henderson and the other guard, the guy the shooter, I see them advancing, getting to play. They would play Alabama. I think they can beat Alabama. I see them playing Michigan and maybe beating Michigan. Texas Tech, because I love their coach. I love their coach as well.
Yeah, he's good. He's very good. I think without Toppin, they don't match up inside against Michigan. I would take Michigan in that game, but who knows? They're upsets all the time.
Do you see Michigan coming out of there, Rich?
I was so high in Michigan all season long until this last stretch of the season, but I still think. I don't know. I don't think they win it all, but I still think they make the Final Four.
Well, let's get back to the team you mentioned before. Is Iowa State is in Michigan's region, and that's who I think is coming out. I think Iowa State is terrific, and you're right. Their free throw shooting is their one weakness. But boy, they guard They guard you like crazy. I'm sure you saw the game against Arizona in the conference semifinals last week. It's probably the game of the year.
Yes.
Bradley made the shot from the corner to win the game.
Yeah.
I mean, that game. Let's go under for a minute to the Big 12 conference, putting in that stupid floor that they had. Did you see that? Did you see that court?
It's awful.
Fiberglass with bright lights shining. That's Brett Yormack, the commissioner's bright idea. He's the same guy that wants the conference football games played in Mexico City, and he wanted Connecticut. He wanted Connecticut in the league, and he wanted all these crazy stuff. And he got the floor, and the floor was so bad they get it out of there for the semifinal game. Luckily, and Tommy Lloyd then they played the great Arizona Iowa State game, and Tommy Lloyd said after the game it was only because they had the wooden court back, because he said that game would have never happened on that floor. Yeah. He said both teams were comfortable. And let me give you a couple stats in that game, you guys. The last defensive rebound came with 4 minutes and 33 seconds in the game.
Wow.
The last defensive rebound. There were made baskets on the last 11 possessions of the game. Wow. Just think about that. Back and forth.
Right.
And 7 of them were threes. and that Momcilovic, who from Iowa State, and then the Arizona kid that comes off the bench, who's from Australia, Diarco or something, isn't he from Australia, Rich, I think?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
He's the shooter. They were going back and back shooting threes. Del Orso is his name, sorry. Del Orso. And Momcilovic. And I mean, it was just great stuff. It was unbelievable. And then Bradley took it in his own hands and says, I'm taking the last shot.
I know. So what did they do? Okay, let's look at that last shot with Tommy Lloyd calling the play. First of all, they didn't call timeout. And number 2, what did they do besides him dribbling the ball to the wing and taking that shot?
Okay, but Rich, Lloyd said after the game, I got the best player in the league. I got the best point guard. He just got named player of the year in the league. Okay. I trust him to do and he does. He does that at all the games. He takes over the game at the end of games and makes baskets. Now I know that shot was a once in a life. It was like Trimble's shot against Duke, and like your guy Acuff's game that Calipari took credit for, But at least Lloyd didn't take credit for that shot. He said, look, I just gave it to the guy. I gave it to Bradley and let him do what he does, and the team got out of the way. Yeah. I mean,
it's funny you say that because
sometimes, Rich, isn't that the best coaching move?
Yeah, of course, if it goes in, absolutely, it's the best coaching move. If he takes a shot and he shoots an air ball, everybody's saying, why didn't they run a play? Right? I mean, how about these analysts that are talking about over and over again? They're saying Calipari, you know what he does best? He lets his best players alone. So basically, they're saying he doesn't coach his best players. He just lets them play, and it works. I mean, it works for Acuff. I mean, he's terrific. It works. But they kept on saying Calipari really does well with his players. He lets his best players, he leaves them alone. So that's coaching, right? Leave them alone.
All right. Anything else out of that bracket, or you want to go down to the other?
Yeah, Bob, we got to get your brackets in there. The last bracket in the South bracket. And here's where I have my biggest complaint with the committee. There is no way, I don't care what they say, there is no way they should let Houston play in the South and play on their home in Houston, play the regionals in Houston. There's no way that should happen. I don't know why anybody didn't take the committee to task for this. Because this has been set up for a long time. Apparently Houston, which was going to, if you host a regional, you can't play in it. Right. But so they gave hosting duties to Texas Southern. So they knew, so they could play in Houston even though they weren't hosting it. Well, that's bullcrap. I mean, it's not their home court. I get that. It's where the Rockets play, but still, it's going to be, you tell Florida and some of these other teams are going to have to play them in Houston.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I've got in my brackets.
Florida's the 1 seed and Houston's the 2.
Yeah.
And yet Houston will have the home game, basically.
Yeah. And in fact, I've got in my brackets, the two of them played in the championship game last year.
Right.
And that heartbreaking defeat from Houston is going to really be, a thing for Kelvin Sampson if they play again. I see Houston beating Florida and getting to the Final Four because of that, because of the home court. I don't get it.
Well, I mean, again, I hate to bring this up again, but they're willing to send St. John's from the East Coast to the West Coast, but they can't move Houston someplace else. It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
And to bring one more thing up, Purdue won the Big Ten championship, right? And they moved the line up. They went from being a 3 seed to a 2nd seed.
Yeah.
But St. John's didn't move up. So how they're so inconsistent of their decision making. It doesn't, and they also sent Villanova out to San Diego too.
Good.
What is the point of that? Seriously, why are you sending teams from one coast to the other?
Rich, you're finally going to believe me. Remember last year I went on a rant about once you get the 64 teams picked, the 16 out west go that way. The 16 down south go that way. The 16, put them where they belong geographically and do that for the fans, do that for the students so that they can theoretically get to the games.
Yeah.
Gonzaga in the West because they're always in the West, even though they're, they shouldn't be able to determine where they're going. But, and yet Houston gets to stay at home.
Yeah.
And Villanova and everybody else has to travel.
Right. Gonzaga gets to play in Portland, and the point being there that Gonzaga is not a high seed, so they shouldn't be protected like that. They should go east. You're right. They should have to go east, and they're gonna end up playing BYU probably in Portland. But you're right though. But Bob, you're exactly right. They've got to make these sites long before the dates, but they certainly don't have to they certainly could send the teams to different places after the first round. It's like reseeding.
One line or even 2 lines, I don't think it matters that much. Send the Western teams west and send the Eastern, the Southern teams down south and make it work that way. Although in the case of this year, the way I hear Curry breaking things down, the Big 12 teams should be seeded 1 and 2 in every region. You should be the new commissioner of the Big 12 because you got Houston, you loved Iowa State.
If I was, I wouldn't ask for a fiberglass floor. I would definitely not.
You loved Arizona.
But,
you're pretty high on
Florida. I think Florida is set up in an easy region, except when they get to Houston, when they get to the Elite Eight game. Because they're going to have, it looks to me like they may play Vanderbilt again, and they're going to be so hell bent to crush Vanderbilt after that. You got a wild card
out of the South, Curry? Anybody you kind of like that maybe got seated a little lower than they should have?
Well, I don't think they're seated lower, but I like, and we being North Carolina might end up playing Illinois. I think Illinois is a real dark horse, can move out. Rich, what is Illinois? But Illinois is a 3 seed, so that's not a big surprise.
Illinois is very talented, really talented. But
they got the great freshman guard.
Right. But I'll tell you what their weakness is. Their defense. They give up they score a lot of points, but they give up a lot of points. And I think to win a national championship, you got to be able to play D. And they don't do a very good job of that.
That's because the whole team is from the Balkans.
Well, maybe so. They don't defend here.
Yeah. So Bob, looking from afar, so you don't have do you have a Final Four that you want to throw out there?
No, not really.
I'm
taking in what you guys are giving me, and I'm liking a couple of the underdogs. Curry, you got Texas Tech. What are they? They're an 11, right? They got to play this first.
No. They're a 5. They're a 5.
Okay,
but I think they can get to Michigan, and as Rich says, though, see, Rich breaks this down as a coach, and he knows so much more about the game because he's already changed my mind about a couple of my Final Fours, and that might be one of them because Michigan is so big and Texas Tech is so injured.
Yeah,
with Toppin, I would like Texas Tech in that game.
Yes. Without doubt.
And to get back to the other thing, Rich, you have a great point about, and I thought of it too. If Connecticut plays St. John's with a fourth time, which is a real conceivable, if St. John's by Duke, that's going to happen, I think. A fourth time, it always goes to the team that lost the last one. So
typically,
you got a great point. You got a great point there, I think. Yeah.
So what do you like for the whole thing? And we can change this every week. So that's the beauty.
Well, at least we both like Arizona, but Rich has three other teams, I'll bet.
Yeah. Right? I like Arizona. I like Michigan. Curry, I like Houston too. The same thing. I think coming after losing to them like they did last year in the championship game, and I like the coach from Houston,
Kelvin.
Calvin. He's terrific. I would love to see him win it before he retires.
Yeah.
I mean, he seems like a good guy.
He's probably going to get named to the Hall of Fame in the Final Four week, because that's when they name the Hall of Famers. Okay. He's up for it. I'll bet he gets named that weekend.
He should. I mean, if Calipari's in it, he should be in it.
He is in it too. Calipari is in it. He looks so bewildered at the end of games now, Rich, at the end of these close games. He looks bewildered. You're right.
He does. He's sparking things out. He's pointing things. Those guys aren't listening to a thing he says. He's pointing here, going over there. I mean, it's funny. Again, I give him a lot of credit for his recruiting. His relationship with his players is terrific. But when you come down in X's and O's, man, when he gave himself credit for changing the play, I mean, I just almost fell out of my chair.
There's always room under Rich's bus for John Calipari.
Absolutely.
So Rich, you've got Arizona, Houston, and Michigan. Who's out of the East? I'll bet you like Duke.
No, I do not. I do not like Duke.
Who do you like?
Who was the second seed in? I'm sorry.
You don't like Connecticut or St. John's, right?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay, Izzo's the 3 seed, and Connecticut's the 2nd seed.
Wow, I don't like any of them.
I know. Hard to root in that.
That's all good stuff. I think a lot of people are looking at their brackets and they're thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
I don't like any of those guys.
Yeah.
Final thoughts, guys. You want to throw under the bus this week?
I have another coach. I have another coach, the Wisconsin coach, who is a Greg Gard. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah. Son plays one.
He's a terrific coach, but in one of the games in the Big Ten tournament, their team, had a back and forth game, Wisconsin, and he called a timeout because he wanted to set up his press offense. And when they came out of the timeout, they basically threw the ball out of bounds. It was a bad turnover. They ended up winning the game, but it was a bad turnover. So after the game, they interview him. They're talking about what a great win it was for Wisconsin, this and that. And he had to say to the nation, hey, just want you to know that press offense wasn't designed that way. It wasn't supposed to go. Well, coach, come on. I mean, I know you didn't design it to throw it out of bounds. I mean, they're kids. They're players playing to the best of their ability. But he wanted the nation to know that wasn't his call. That was not his call.
So
that kind of stuff. That stuff kind of drives me crazy when coaches have to say to everybody, that I didn't design it that way. Oh, well, of course you didn't design it that way. Who designed it? Were you going to throw the ball out of bounds? So that's my man under the bus.
Yeah, there you go, Curry.
Well, okay, I gotta. I hope this story isn't too long, but I'm gonna call out the Pearl family, Stephen Pearl and his father Bruce Pearl, and not for what you think. This is for a totally different thing. Not Bruce Pearl laying out Miami of Ohio, say they didn't deserve it and they wouldn't finish. They'd finish last in the Big East, which is so ridiculous. And then Stephen Pearl, so they don't get in the tournament. But during the NCAA tournament, Stephen Pearl sent his Auburn assistant, a guy named Ian Borders, to the Atlantic Sun tournament in Jacksonville. He bought a seat, he sat courtside, and he started talking to some of the players to try and get that. Obviously to get inside to get them in the portal, and he got called out by it by the coach of who's in the tournament, Queens, and he said he was talking to my players to get to one of my kids. Before we even finished with the tournament, this is a season still going on. Pearl's defense, Pearl and some people reported this. Pearl's defense to this was that he's allowed to send his staff to watch teams if they are unlikely to be future opponents. Well, okay, it's Queens, but the season isn't over. That's right. Not. Then his other defense was also that we can talk to players as long as they're not in the portal. Well, of course they're not in the portal yet because the season's not over. That's the whole reason. That's the whole reason it's illegal to do that, to do what he did. Yeah. He basically admitted. Another coach, the coach at South Florida, came out and he said, if this clown reaches out to any of my players, he said, I will find him and we will have a face-to-face. Whoa, he's gonna have some. This is the kind of dirtbag stuff that Pearl
he's like his father. He's taking after his father.
Senior has gotten away with all his life. In fact, there was a story in The Athletic about Bruce Pearl's history of the violations and getting fired everywhere and blah, blah, blah. And this is what he did. And a more recent thing of that, North Carolina, we had a player a few years ago named Walker Kessler, 7-footer. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was leading us to the tournament. Pearl was recruiting him during the season to switch schools and come to Auburn because he was visiting his father. All our North Carolina people have evidence. He was visiting his home, talking to his father, and sure enough, he got Walker Kessler to transfer. That's the kind of stuff this guy does. He was doing it right up to his last years at Auburn.
Curry, to add to that story, Kessler's dad went to Roy Williams. He wanted him to play in the perimeter. And Roy said, no, you're an inside player. And Pearl told him, at Auburn, you'll be able to stay out in the perimeter and shoot from the outside. And then we went to watch him last year. He was a couple of years ago. He was on the block the whole time. He went from block to block. He never went on the perimeter, but he told his old man, we'll play him on the outside for sure. We'll play him out there.
Well, Roy Williams told his father when Kessler's father came around and demanded that Walker play outside. He said, we play him outside in practice and he can't shoot. He can't shoot outside. Roy Williams told the dad that. He said, he can't shoot. That's why we don't play him outside. And he was right. And my information, and this is around Chapel Hill, that incident was the last straw for Roy Williams. Yeah. That's why he retired. He said, this stuff is getting too out of hand. I can't handle this anymore. And, long before that, Dean Smith got out of coaching because the players wouldn't listen to him anymore, and they were turning into dirtbags. Yeah. We had a few that were just out of control. Mm-hmm. And Dean said, I'm out of here.
Right.
Does Walker Kessler have any eligibility left?
Oh, no, he's in the pros. He's a good player. He's really a good player. Yeah.
That's not the question I asked. Does he have any eligibility?
He might. You never know.
Yeah.
If he could still get paid, the Pearls might find a place for him. All right. I'll throw under the bus real quickly the Canadian Paralympic hockey coach because now they all three, the Americans win the gold medal in hockey, men, women, and the Paralympics. I don't know. Poor Canada. And then they lose the baseball game to us too. So as you saw in the note under the screen and over the shoulder, Bryce Harper's hit a 2-run homer to tie the game. So let's wrap this up.
Right.
So let's go watch it. The game. And we thank you all for joining us. Curry and Rich are going scouting this weekend. You'll want to watch next week's show. They're going to Greenville. I'm sure they'll be in one of the TV cutaways. Make sure you watch all 4 games both days as Curry and Rich hit the road. It's like Harold and Kumar. You guys are going to find a White Castle someplace. We'll see you next week under the bus.
See you guys. That was fun.